I said in a previous video that my favorite genre of television is game shows, but my favorite genre of movies? Well, it splits kind of all over the place, but the one that I find the most enjoyable, comedies. Everybody enjoys them, they always get a laugh out of everybody. But most of the time, comedies that I see nowadays are really just I mean, they're just designed to look stupid. But some comedies actually have a very, very clever approach in their writing, sense of style, and their sense of humor, above all. So, that being said, I'm going to list down the top 10 best comedic movies, probably of all time. The Birdcage. The plot of this movie is relatively simple. Two young adults are engaged to be married, but come from two polar opposite families. The daughter, who is planned, comes from an extreme workaholic politician and a housewife mother, while the son was an accident, and his biological father, played by Robin Williams, is not only a nightclub owner, but he's also gay, and Nathan Lane is the star of the drag show. They managed to get away with some really funny jokes while they're in the nightclub, but the best scene involved just about any part with Nathan Lane or Hank Azaria as the couple's, well, he's there to provide laughs, and I mean, he gets a lot of them. Spaceballs. The first time I saw this movie, I was expecting it to suck, but then I saw who the director was, and ultimately I found out that it was, in fact, a Mel Brooks movie. Mel Brooks really knows how to make not only funny movies, but hilariously ingenious parodies slash satires of popular franchises. But I have to be honest, I really enjoy this movie, but the reason it ranks as only number 9 is because it seemingly came out a little too late after all the Star Wars movies, or even after their parodies for that matter. Regardless of the time that this movie was released, it was one hell of an enjoyable movie. My favorite part in the whole thing is when they flat out break the fourth wall and look at the movie they're in before it's even finished.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
We passed then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
I could just watch that forever. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Based off the John Hughes short story Christmas 59, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation doesn't exactly stay true to the source material, but a lot of it is because it's played mostly for laughs. This is one hilarious Christmas movie, I can say that for sure. But my family grew up reading the short story every Christmas Eve, so I pretty much know the story front to back, and I can pick out a few things that aren't particularly from the book. For example, the opening scene where they're going to find a tree, that happens in the middle of the story, not at the very beginning. And also, the cat that jumps out of the box, in the book it was actually a dachshund. And finally, the forgetful old aunt who sits down and says the Pledge of Allegiance, in the book her name is Aunt Hazel, but in the movie her name is Aunt Bethany. But I guess it doesn't matter. This is not only a very funny Christmas movie, but this is just one of the funniest movies in general. It's well worth your time.
She wrapped up her damn cat.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Have you ever wanted to see Robin Williams in drag, so to speak? Robin Williams in drag. Try to say that without sounding like you're screwed up somehow. Okay, as ridiculous as that does sound, it's actually a very touching story about what family means, taking responsibility, and all the while laughing at Williams. But he also does very well switching personalities, and it's a very, very heartfelt and very enjoyable movie. Two things that you notice right now is that I had a sudden change of clothes, and I don't have any clips for what number 6 was supposed to be. But number 6 is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It was written by the same guy who did Christmas 59, very hilarious movie starring Matthew Broderick, Mia Sara, Alan Ruck, and it's basically about a stock character who, the cool guy in high school, and he can get away with basically anything and decides to skip one day of school and has the time of his life doing so. That's really all I can say. Next number. Young Frankenstein. The second Mel Brooks movie to make this countdown, Young Frankenstein, the satire of the original Frankenstein story by Mary Shelley, starring Gene Wilder, Marty Feldman, and Peter Boyle. This, of course, being a Mel Brooks movie, just produces funny scene after funny scene after funny scene, and quite often pointing out the insanity of the original idea of the Frankenstein story. The entire movie is, of course, a comedic classic, but this part right here is my absolute favorite.
Or would you give me a hand with the bags?
Certainly. You take the blonde and I'll take the one in the tavern.
Lusting over Madeline Kahn is funny. Mean Girls. In my opinion, this is the most relatable movie ever. No matter where you went to high school or what background you come from, every teenager in the United States seemed to have gone to this high school. Think about it. You've got being the new kid, people trying to help said new kid, the hot girl who's still a bitch but knows how to get what she wants, the gossip, the girl whose level of attractiveness is reduced by how stupid she is, creepy teachers, unnecessary drama, harsh one-liners, and above all, stupid memories that made up your high school experience. When I was in high school, we spewed out lines from this movie to each other basically on a daily basis because this is what high school was like at the time, and hearing stupid things like this.
Nice wig, Janice. What's it made of?
Your mom's chest hair. Boo, you whore.
Oh my god, Danny DeVito, I love you!
I put it to you, watch a scene from this movie and tell me that somehow it doesn't remind you of somebody that you know. Ghostbusters. Again, I apologize, I cannot find any good clips from this movie that will fit into this video, but all you need to know is that it starred Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson as the four paranormal investigators that went around the city blasting ghosts. There are a lot of famous lines that have come out of this movie, and it has been often considered one of the greatest comedies of all time. To be fair, I know where they're coming from, and trust me when I say they're totally right. It is a funny, funny movie, just based on, all the comedy, all the timing, and the absurd conclusion that they come to at the very end when they're fighting off Gozer atop the very tall building. I really don't know what I can say about it, except that if you haven't seen it, you are, like, missing out. Big time. Next number. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This movie is chock full of three things: historical inaccuracy, hilarity, and memorable scenes. Remember this?
Jesus Christ!
How about this?
She turned me into a newt! A newt. Got better.
And of course,
We're knights of the round table, we dance where we're able. We do routine to chorus scenes, to footwork impeccable. We dine well here in Camelot, we eat ham and jam and Spamalot.
insert attempted build-up to a revelation of the #1 best comedic movie of all time. And the wait is finally over. I give you the greatest comedic movie of all time, Blazing Saddles. It's actually really hard for me to say anything about this movie that anyone else hasn't said already. I mean, yeah, it's a Mel Brooks movie, but you know what? This has got to be his absolute best one ever. Every joke works in this movie because it satirizes everything from typical Western movies to straight-out racism. Most notably, this part right here.
And isn't it a lovely morning? Up yours, nigger.
Being pretty harsh on Cleavon Little, aren't you there, Grandma? I should also point this is the first movie that, well, this isn't my sense of humor, but this was the first movie that did this. That's really disgusting, but that's actually somehow kind of clever. And just like Mean Girls and Monty Python, this movie has the most memorable things in it. And that is what makes it worthy of the #1 spot of the best comedic movies of all time. So now we've come to the end of the list, and now you know the drill. Rate, comment, subscribe, and of course, see you next time.